Worried about access to aging services in an era of budget cuts? How an AI assistant can help. That's topic one on this episode of What's Next? Living Longer, Better, Smarter. Plus, we'll have some people doing remarkable things in sports and grandparenting. Stay tuned. This episode is made possible in part by Tokyo-based Living Best, a consumer-focused age tech initiative from the Carter Group. The initiative helps to advance promising new ventures and technologies with the resources and connections they need to succeed. Learn how they're empowering the future in the world's most aged society in Japan with the potential for global impact. For more, visit living-best.tech. And we are also supported by Get Set Up, the largest digital learning platform for older adults, improving wellness, digital literacy, and social connection. Learn more at getsetup.com. Let's dive right into episode 91, AI Assistants, the Senior Games Women's Volleyball Champs, and the creator of Grandparent Merit Badges. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with Mary Furlong. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Fred. This is going to be a fascinating and fun episode.
I think it is. From how we can use an AI assistant to help with aging services, to a gold medal winning team captain in the Senior Games, to some very worthwhile grandparenting fun. First, let's turn to Get Set Up co-founder and CEO Neil D'Souza. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Fred. Hi, Mary. Thanks for having me on.
Neil, we continue to be amazed at all you and the team at Get Set Up have been doing. It's really a remarkable company. Before we get into the latest on AI, let's give everyone a quick overview of Get Set Up and how you've grown. Such a great concept.
Yeah, no, for those who've not heard us or my co-founder Lawrence before, so Get Set Up is a 5-year-old company. We provide a whole range of activities, over 4,000 different activities to older adults, ranging from physical fitness, food, nutrition, social connectivity to reduce loneliness, and then financial literacy, which includes a lot of stuff around job skills, scam prevention, and stuff. So we think those four are essential for people as they age. And we provide a lot of activities online, predominantly all done peer-to-peer, right? And so we've grown now. We offer this to several states who have continued to renew with us 4 or 5 years in, which is generally a good validation that what we're doing works, because I know it's pretty hard in the aging market to prove something like this. So yeah, we're quite excited about that. And then, we've had 4 years of very interesting data about how older adults interact with our instructors, interact with each other. Just a reminder, we don't have a Reddit for older adults. That used to be Facebook. But in a way, sort of Get Set Up became that place over the years. And so we've been able to capture interesting insights into the needs of this demographic. And that's what led us to build Helen, which is sort of our own fine-tuned version of an AI assistant that is sort of a companion to someone who is engaged in one of these activities, be it fitness, be it nutrition, be it around social isolation, or even for financial resilience. So we've been using it now almost for 2 years. Right when ChatGPT came out, we built our own version over OpenAI, and quite excited to see the different use cases, especially to solve problems for businesses. So yeah, happy to share more as we get into this.
Right. We've spoken with your co-founder about Helen previously, but the evolution is continuing. And now it can assist when it comes to finding local support and government benefits. Tell us more about that. I think people will be very fascinated with that.
Yeah, that to us also seemed like, we're reading about AI, all of us read, and some of the ideas are like pretty wild out there because you have robotic solutions with AI that are trying to reduce loneliness. And we thought, what have older adults been coming to Get Set Up for? To learn so that they can take that learning and go and take an action, right? And one of the things that they were learning a lot about is their Medicare benefits, their health plan benefits, are they eligible for low income heating program or the eligibility for SNAP? There's just billions of dollars of benefits that don't get used every year because the information is buried in these complex websites, really not user friendly, or on PDF documents. And so we knew they were coming to us to learn about it in classes, but we just couldn't keep up through offering classes. And he said, why not use Helen as an assistant to answer those questions so that when an older adult makes that phone call to a AAA or makes a phone call to their health and human services or a senior center, they're actually well equipped with a lot of the answers. So they're not spending 2 to 3 hours on a phone call learning about these programs, right? And so there's a perfect use case for using Helen as an assistant to answer those kind of questions. And so what we did is we really partnered with few agencies. I think New Jersey is one of our state partners that is piloting it, where we're taking documents about different benefits that the members are eligible for but can't find. And we are training Helen to learn everything about that, right? So go and, understand the website, go and read all these PDF documents, make sure it's always up to date because on a weekly basis, rather than training a department of 50 call center people, Helen can go and train itself to be most up to date about the information. And then when a learner comes to a class and they're taking a class about benefits, they can start a conversation with Helen to go deeper into their use case, right? Check their eligibility, check what benefits they are going to get, learn a little bit more about SNAP or low income heating or the Medicare savings program. So this is sort of for the first time, what AI can really do is what a human really couldn't, right? Because when you made a phone call to a AAA person, there's only so much they can know. They work really hard, but they might know one program. They might not know about all the 50 programs. But here, Helen can actually be an expert in all of these programs because it's now went and studied all these programs by itself. So that's kind of how we're using it. So we're really using AI to go learn all the stuff that is very complex and then help our learners actually go and understand it and then even apply for it as sort of the next phase. So that's kind of the evolution of Helen. We are now going to take it as we enter Medicare season. We are actually going to do it with health plan documents. So if you can imagine, every person who's on Medicare gets this annual notice of change, their benefit documents. No one ever reads it. It's just very complicated. And your broker doesn't do a really good job of explaining it to you after they've sold your plan. This is kind of where Helen will come in. So we are working with certain health plans to say, let's just make your user better literate about health literacy, better educated about your plan, so that they actually avail of all the things that you are providing to them. And that way they can stay healthier, they can stay more active, and their cost of care goes down there. And that's how we are evolving, Helen.
So, in terms of the use cases, I know we've talked to Greg Olson in the state of New York, and he was very excited about the use of more benefits, people understanding more benefits. What are the ways in which your community of users finds it most useful? Have you seen a shift in the traffic to deeper connection with Helen?
Yeah, so we're seeing members engage a lot more, and it really depends on how frictionless we make that experience, right? So we are a class platform, or we provide classes and programs. So we integrated Helen within the class chat experience. So, if I'm chatting with you in a class, I can also choose to chat with Helen and get answers there. So that's one place we've made sure that people can interact a lot more. We've made it our default search. So if you're going to search for a class, you also are going to actually, Helen's the one going and searching for you, which allows you to have a conversation and go deeper on it. So we are starting to see members engage a lot more with Helen, asking, you know, I would say four buckets. One is um, searching for resources. We see a lot of interaction there. Educational stuff. So where they are saying, tell me more about this topic, tell me more about this benefit. And then Helen keeps surfacing follow-up questions for them. Because one of the things we know is not just older adults, all of us are pretty bad at knowing what to ask or what to search for. So not we're not very good search. And this is what Helen does. It like comes up with recommended questions you can ask as follow up. And so that leads to a much more engaging conversation. So we see users sometimes start at 5 minutes, but then go for a couple of hours long, just going deeper and deeper, understanding certain things. But to your thing about Greg and New York, and same with New Jersey, we're picking certain verticals, right? So benefits that are massively underutilized. So Medicare savings program, which is I think $3,000 plus that certain New Yorkers who are below a certain income level are eligible for, but there's maybe like 10 to 12% of adoption or awareness. So that's kind of where we are trying to like drive more awareness. So for example, if you're in a food class, that's probably the best time to tell you about SNAP and changes about
Mhm.
SNAP, right?
Mhm.
You're not going to
And of
wake up
course,
asking for it.
so many changes this fall. So people are
Yes.
going to want to know those changes and follow up.
Yeah.
And it's been so impressive to watch the evolution of the company because in the beginning there was COVID and you were really a digital literacy platform. And now people have learned digital skills, but also AI skills.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think our mission's been the same, right? Like in COVID, we knew there are barriers for this demographic to access the things needed to live happy, healthy, productive lives.
Right.
And back then, the medium or the best medium to reduce that barrier, eliminate it, was through peer-to-peer classes. We then realized after COVID, people wanted more flexibility. So we offered more on-demand, and as AI came into the market, we realized, we can't really personalize it for everybody through a video class. But if we want to stay true to our mission, then we need to adopt AI in a way which continues to reduce those barriers, where people can not only become more digitally literate, but also now become health literate so that they can live at home independently in their communities, as they age. And so it's in the same line, like we're not really pivoting as such, but we are constantly figuring out ways where we can accomplish our mission, you know.
Well, it's so impressive. So congratulations, Neil. The work you're doing is needed now more than ever, I think.
And the great work at Get Set Up also extends to fitness and inspiration. At the 2025 National Senior Games, the Get Set Up arch rivals women's 70 plus volleyball team captured first place. And joining us is the team captain, Virginia Buckles. Hi, Virginia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, Virginia, the name comes from the Arch in St. Louis, and we're so impressed. Tell us more about your history with volleyball and the first place team, and also what you did before.
Okay. So our team is made up of women athletes, 70 or older. Most of us have been playing a good deal of our lives, high school, college, adult club, and then seniors at age 50. That's where you transition to. And I myself have been playing for over 60 years. And our core team, this team of arch rivals, have been playing in tournaments together for close to 25 years. So we have quite a history together. We know each other very well, especially on the court. For National Senior Games, you actually have to qualify the year before. So in 2024, we had to take first, second, or third in our state tournament. We took first, um, partly because we were the only team in our age bracket, but that's okay. We were the best team in the age bracket as well, and actually beat younger teams because we would play down just to be able to play. Um, then the big challenge is actually to keep those 7 or 8 women healthy for a whole year to be able to now come back and play at the nationals that you qualified for. And at 70, that gets harder and harder. Um, but we are a very dedicated bunch. We plan our lives pretty much around our tournaments. So that means scheduling family events, vacations, weddings, surgeries, joint replacements, all those things are not scheduled so they would interfere with the tournament. So we're dedicated that way. And I think that's one of the reasons we've been able to persist so long. Many of us played in high school and college. That was before the passage and implementation of the Title IX legislation that basically tried to ensure equality and support for education and sports. The discrimination in the 60s and 70s, early 70s, it took a couple of years for them to implement it, was incredibly blatant. We often made our own uniforms because the ones issued by the university or the college had been reused so many times. They were so old. We would carpool to away games because there was no money for buses for the women. And if there was a away tournament, we would have to do bake sales and fundraisers to be able to support our travel. All of this was provided to the men. So it was, difficult. I have daughters that played sports, and they can hardly believe what we had to put up with to be able to play. And I'm glad they have a hard time believing, because that means things have changed. And I'm really glad there was support for them that was lacking for us.
What does this say about the need to support women in sports? You started playing in this earlier era, but I'm fascinated by the way you describe how your team rules out any scheduling conflicts, because you have to keep everyone healthy. It's harder to stay healthy at this age, and there must be a real commitment. Do you practice often? And what do you think this says about older women in sports?
I think we appreciate all the support we can get. We are determined. So even though it was hard back in the 60s and 70s, that didn't stop us. I can't tell you how important Get Set Up sponsorship is to our team. 2 years ago, they contacted me before the last national games. And at first I thought it was a scam and they were going to ask me for money. But I didn't click or, reply until I checked them out. And I was like, no, it's a real deal, a real company.
This is really inspiring and being part of the Get Set Up fitness community, I guess, in a lot of ways now. And you and Neil can talk about that, the importance of inspiration to all of us who are in the Get Set Up demographic, I guess we could put it.
I can tell you that we still pinch ourselves. We still can't believe that somebody wanted to sponsor us and support us. And they're so proud of us. They do press events with us. That is just like unheard of. And I don't think so. Neil has very bright people there. And, the ones we've been working with are a little younger, and they don't remember. They didn't live through what we lived through. And so I think they were so kind of surprised about how happy we were that they were supporting us. And so we find being a part of the Get Set Up community and the online community and being Get Set Up athletes is just a badge of honor for us. When we go to the tournaments, the other teams going, how did you do that? And so, Neil, I have to tell you, there's a lot of teams that want to be your supported. So,
Neil, how does that make you feel? Because Fred and I feel very proud that Get Set Up has sponsored our podcast and believed in us, and we've watched them grow. How did you decide where to put the brand?
It actually, one of the reasons I started Get Set Up is most of my friends and peers are in this demographic. They are older, in their 60s, but we are all athletes. So I do a lot of ultra running. Lawrence does it. Actually, a lot of our investors who are cyclists, they're all athletes. And so it was sort of my founding principle that at one day I will, when we get to a stage, sponsor anyone who's an athlete in our community that wants to do something that they are passionate about, right? Be it running, be it volleyball, be it cycling. And so I think to me, this is actually a bigger dream come true than any other financial goal, is to actually be able to sponsor and support actually people, right? And that's part of sort of the foundation of Get Set Up. So yeah, I did an ultra marathon with Lawrence and few other people in their 60s in France last month, and we also proudly wore the Get Set Up jersey, and all of us ran because most of them were in the 60, 65 age group. So it's makes me a lot. It makes me very proud and happy actually to see Virginia and everyone else go to the games. I am. My next goal is one day to be able to actually have a prize category in almost all events.
So the senior games took place in Iowa and they take place every 2 years. Are you planning to go try for a repeat, Virginia?
We're not stopping now, that's for sure. We are
Okay.
in 2027, the National Games will be in Tulsa.
Mhm.
And we haven't booked our Airbnb or anything like that yet, but we are preparing. And again, we have one teammate who's now scheduled her knee replacement now that we're done with this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's ready for next year.
Oh, that's pretty fun. You got to get the knee replacements in between the games.
I think one of the keys to our success, which I think gets set up, is very much behind and promotes, is that social engagement we feel with our team. I mean, we eat lunch and dinners off the court and socialize, and that's just so important as we get older. And Get Set Up is really supportive and behind that concept. They do a lot towards that end.
One of the topics that we talk about a lot on this podcast is social isolation and loneliness. Do you find for your teammates that have navigated challenges, health challenges, loss of a partner, that sense of community is even more important in sports and online?
It is incredibly important. We, in the last couple of years, have lost teammates due to stroke or to cancer, and the ones, the stroke are survivors, and so we still engage them. They still come to our events as they're able. They can't play anymore, but they're still in part of the group, and we have cancer survivors still playing on the team, and multiple joint replacements, and in that venue, when you're laid up, and we're there for them. We help them in their rehab. We just try to help each other out. I mean, I think that's part of our success.
I really believe in that. That's needed today more than ever, as you see the boomers tipping into their 80s, and we know that these chronic conditions do exist. So
Yes.
thanks so much for this inspiring conversation.
Well, congratulations, Virginia, to you and the whole team, really. Pass it along for us. And
Okay.
Neil, congratulations on this one, too. Mary, our next guest is an author, creator of the Lucas and Emily Adventure Books series for kids, and the creator of Grandparent Merit Badges, Dave Grunenwald. Hi, Dave.
Good morning.
Hi, Dave. Wonderful to meet you. Tell us a bit about you and your journey in this space.
Well, I come from a big family. I have 57 great nieces and nephews, and there's still some coming. So I knew how to be a father and an uncle and a cousin, but I didn't know how to be a grandfather. And the grandkids eventually came along. I have two wonderful grandkids. And so I wanted to kind of provide some focus for that. What do I do? What do I do? So that's what gave rise to the Grandparent Merit Badge. It started off as simply a checklist. And the next thing you know, I get an illustrator and we put together the merit badges. So it's a guide for grandparents to have kind of a structure around doing things with their grandkids.
Well, I'm very curious to learn more. Your latest book for children, and just out really, is Lucas and Emily's Food Bank Adventure. Really wonderful and worthwhile. lessons about volunteering. So how did you come up with ideas for the merit badges? So tell us more, and tell us more about the book.
Well, the merit badges, I did a lot of asking around. What do you do with your grandkids? Where do you go on the weekends when you have time off? What do you do in the summertime? And that's gave rise to 12 activities, pretty common: hiking, biking, going to the zoo, that sort of thing. And but then I would talk to people who say, well, I don't do any of that, but I'm a gardener. And so we created the Grandparent Merit Badges, the gardening edition. We also have a nature edition, a cooking edition, and those are specialty books where the gardening activities are all have to do with gardening. Cooking, same thing. And because there really is no end to the things you can do with family members and especially, your grandkids. The Grandparent Merit Badges, I handed them to a good friend one time, and she said, David, I don't have any grandkids. Well, so the next thing you know, we have the Friends and Family Merit Badges. And these books come in both English and Spanish. And they get a good positive reaction whenever I give them to people. But something was missing. And what was missing was, here's this nice checklist of things to do, but I wanted to breathe a little life into it. And that's where the adventure series of books came along. We started with the animal adventure, which was about going to the zoo and to the aquarium, and added 4 more books to the original series. And they were involved different people. One was a dog adventure that I took tips from a friend who is a dog lover, and that sort of thing. I always reached out to people for practical advice, and those worked out well. But I wanted to take it in a philanthropic direction. That's what gave rise to the food bank book.
Which I think is really important to show them how to shine a light on important people and causes. What was your profession before, Dave?
Well, I'm an attorney by education, and I've spent the last 45 years in the real estate business. I've traveled extensively around the country and even in foreign countries, and built a lot of things. I still do that part-time, a couple of days a week. And as I told my daughter at her wedding, I said, I used to tell you that if I could write like you, I'd have been a writer. She is an author. And and when I toasted her, I said, but I lied to you. The truth is that if I could write half as good as you, I'd have been a writer. So I'm a typical lawyer. I'm what's the word? Verbose. I use 10 words when 3 will do. And so
I'm curious, do the badges come with stickers? I know the little ones really like stickers.
well, there are 2 versions of the book. The one that's now out on Amazon is like this, and it has stickers that you cut out.
Mhm.
All right, like this,
Mhm.
and you paste them on the page that is relevant, and you write about it. When did you go? Where did you go? Who was with you? That sort of thing. The original merit badges came out. This is actually the volunteer version. This came with stickers that you peel off and put on the on the page. It's funny. People tell me that the cutout version is good because it teaches kids how to use scissors and tape, and the stickers is a little more convenient. But so we try to have a little something for everybody.
And what's the parents' reaction?
I get I think it's positive. I get good, get good reactions. I have a brother. He's got 10 grandkids, and I asked him one time. I said, "So, what's the secret?" And he said, "The secret's simple." He said, "Just be there.
Mhm.
You're going to make mistakes,
Mhm.
but just be there." And so I didn't want to, I didn't want to just, every Saturday I go over and visit and we play in the backyard. I wanted to go beyond that, and I wanted to. So as I started to research, what can we do? What do grandparents do? And mom and dad like it because I spent time with the grandsons, and I that's the reaction I get from most parents.
Well, just terrific, Dave. Really, congratulations on what you're doing. Some lessons in grandparenting just to be part of their lives. And we're really happy that you were able to share this with us.
I think we should try it, Fred. We're both grandparents, and it's the dessert of life, as one of my friends says. And I just schedule around their schedules, right? Grandparenting is the best, I think. And I like that you're involving volunteers for people who don't have grandchildren, because we can all be involved in helping young people explore new worlds, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
Thank you, Dave, and thanks also to Virginia and Neil. We want to thank our sponsors, Get Set Up, the largest digital learning platform for older adults, improving wellness, digital literacy, and social connection. Learn more at getsetup.com. And Tokyo-based Living Best, a user-first age tech initiative from the Carter Group that screens and adapts promising ventures and connects them with commercial opportunities and capital in Japan. Learn how they're empowering successful age tech investment in Japan, the world's most aged society. For more, visit living-best.tech. Thank all of you for watching or listening, and remember, you can always find us at maryfurlong.com/podcast.